introduction. So I can see Agota. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. You guys correct me. Yeah,
No, that's fine. Agota, or Agi for short.
Okay, nice to meet you. We have Antonella. We have Ben. Hi, hello. Ben as well. Ben, hi Ben. Christina Silva.
Hi.
Hi, hello. Hi, Emma as well. Hello,
Yes, hello.
Emma. Hi. Fiona, hello, Fiona to you. Gabriella. And another Gabriella. So two Gabriellas. Jim Fraser. Hello. Joanna as well.
Hello.
Hi, hello. Camela.
Yes, hi, hello.
Hello. Keith.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, hello. Natalia and Thomas.
Hello.
Hi, hello. And now Alessia is joining as well. So as I say, people are just joining. So guys, this is your first time, I guess, after you have spoken with Patricia, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, okay, Juan Manuel is also requesting access. Here we go. So, I would like to speak a little bit about Oxinity. Well, we have an hour or so, and I'll try to condense my explanations, although sometimes it's hard, so that I allow at the end of the session time for questions. But let's make this a dialogue rather than just me explaining things and you just listening. So feel free to raise your hand and to ask a question if something is not clear. Yeah, I will try to guide you step by step by this through this project. But as I said, if you have something to mention, to comment, to ask, feel free to do that. So in this series of webinars, we're going to see the business or the project, what Oxinity offers, can offer to you guys from different angles. Now, today, I would like you to understand the business model and the educational system. Not in its full because we don't have time for it, but at least to have an idea. Yeah, so an overview of the business model and an overview of the teaching system. Okay, so I'm going to refer to both, and actually they're very important. Both are very important because one characteristic of our system or of our business model is that you guys have your hands untied to promote yourself and to get students. So any explanation that we're going to provide in this series of webinars is going to be actually very useful when it comes time for you to communicate and to explain what is different, what is unique, why should people choose you over other systems. So today we're going to deal with it. Tomorrow it will be more time for how to get started, how exactly you can get started. Even though I will give you some homework. Sorry about that, but very simple, very very simple, so that you don't have to, tasks don't pile up until the end of the week. We have to have some steps done. Yeah, it will be easier for you. On Wednesday, we're going to take a look at social media. So why social media, which social media, if you're going to promote, when exactly, what to do, how to get started. Again, the big question is, how do I start? And on Thursday is one of the probably trickiest webinars, or the most difficult ones, which is all about numbers. So by then, though, I will be referring to prices and to rates, etc. But on Thursday, we will see it in depth. So what are the figures now? What are the prices? What is your rate per hour? How much to offer to students? What taxes should I pay? All these things, we're going to see them on Thursday. And on Friday at 11, we have the so-called Friday talk. So on Friday, all the teachers, all the teachers available at that time, join, and we have these great chats where we put things on the table, like we suggest topics, and we just brainstorm. And this is how we have created our teaching system, by involving all the teachers to provide answers, to think out loud, to consider options, what's best for the student, yeah, how we how we can evolve. Speaking of which, just a couple of lines about this project. So when we started with one question in mind. How should we teach English? That was it. And I know that it may seem quite obvious, but it wasn't, and it isn't. So yes, there are obvious answers, which we have challenged most of them. Yeah. So because the first conclusion is that teachers usually provide individual answers to common problems. And our intention was, how about providing common answers or shared answers to common problems? Maybe we would make the teachers' lives easier. As a consequence, we have adopted a system of creating our own material, and that's very different from any other system that uses textbooks, relies on textbooks, for instance, yeah? And the reason why we're creating our own material, well, there are several, but the main one is teachers preferred it that way. Teachers preferred to create their own material. They believe that it's what they would want to teach. And all we did was we created the tools so that they could share. Yeah. So when we heard about what their problems, concerns, desires were regarding the material, our IT team created the tool. So this is what the teachers are using right now for their classes. All in all the teachers receive that ready-to-use material that you all can benefit from. Yeah, it's a result from teachers' collaboration, and teachers are offering this material, this experience. They're passing their experience from one another. So when you're teaching someone else's activity, you're actually taking their experience and deciding whether you can apply it with your students or not. This is the teaching system. A lot to be discussed about it. We are going to refer to it. But now the business model. So the business model is also quite different from what is commonly accepted in language teaching. Now, we're not an academy, for instance. Difference number one. We are not an academy. We don't hire teachers. We don't want people to work for us. We prefer our teachers to work with us. Even more, we prefer to work for our teachers. Okay, so the main client that Oxinity has, this is not the students, these are our teachers. You guys, every single one, if you want eventually to join, if you embrace this project, you have to know that you are our clients. Of course, indirectly, your students as well, to which we provide service. Yeah, so all the services that we provide for you, there is part that is shared with the student. The material has a teacher's version and a student's version. So all in all, we provide, of course, service for you and your students, but you are our client. So what is why the different, why taking the, taking the all the trouble to do that? Why is that? So I will share my conclusions, or our conclusions, but I would like to ask you a question from your experiences, which I don't know, but I'm sure that, well, you must have amazing experiences and amazing stories. But what do you think? What is the pain of the English teacher, the language teacher? What pain do you guys have?
Pain?
I
Who would
think
like to answer? Fear not, there is no right or wrong answers.
sometimes making sure that it's at the level that they need and also equally challenging enough for them. So that it's not just something that's simple and that they can do, like a balance of both, but also not too hard as to which it'll just confuse them.
You're thinking of your students, I believe.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's great. That's great. I was expecting something more personal, but I like that. Juan
From
Manuel.
my end,
It does. It allows. I don't know if it has to do, in my opinion, with the age group or the level of the students. Because if you teach beginner adults, what you have is affective filters matters in the students, and you have to overcome those very, very high affective filters, because if you're like 40 years old and you're trying to learn English from a beginner level or pre-intermediate, you come with with a high level of frustration from previous experiences. That is, nobody's a blank slate at 40. So you have probably tried before and you have probably failed, or you feel that you have failed. You feel that I don't know anything, I don't know, and you have to just try to break that barrier. But if you teach children motivation is an important issue, you have to adapt yourself to their attention spans, if any, because attention spans are shorter and shorter with time, with the use of technology and the like. So we have several pains. And it all
Okay.
depends on the type of student and all that.
Yeah, okay. So you're very generous because you're thinking of your students' pains rather than yours. So, but
Because
it's
they come back to you. They hit back right at you.
it's true. So how do you overcome, for instance, frustration? What frustrations? What's your solution? So what do you?
It's personal, also has to do with every student. I mean, you have to uh, divide whatever objective there is in the course, so the student knows or feels, and not only knows, because you can't know anything and not perceive it. You have to perceive that you're achieving something, however small, every day. Every day you have to be able to do something that you weren't previously able to. So you probably have to set goals in some cases, even small language goals. Now you can order something at a restaurant. Now you can get lost and find your way because you can ask for directions or give directions to somebody else in your city, however small.
Okay.
So the student
So
knows, okay, I can do something.
mhm. So you say one of your problems number one is dealing with previous um,
Expectations.
experiences, yeah, and frustrated expectations maybe,
Mhm.
and the solution to that is provide sense of achievement.
Exactly. That would be in academic parlance. That would be the takeaway from that. Yes.
And
Okay.
also removing yourself from each lesson. Like you have to remember that dependent on the child, but for yourself as well, each lesson is completely different. So if you have a disappointment in one lesson and it doesn't quite go as planned, you just need to pick it up and try and achieve it in the next one. Not allow one
Okay.
disappointment to follow through into the rest of the classes, essentially.
Okay. Okay. All right. Anyone else about the teacher's pain? What do you guys think?
Paperwork is also paperwork, bureaucracy, registration matters.
Why is it such a pain? What makes it a pain? Why?
It's not a pain, it's time consuming. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I have come from a place when the context in which you're exclusive. Suppose you teach for a secondary school. I am from Uruguay, and there you get paid for only the time that you spend in the classroom. So exam preparation, materials, nothing, everything is extra, everything is unpaid work. And if you
Yeah.
have to teach like 40 hours to make a living, well, you have to do that in several different locations, which are very far from each other. So imagine.
What is the consequence of that? I absolutely agree. What is the consequence?
The consequences.
Monetary speaking.
Sorry, sir? Sorry.
Monetary speaking.
Monetary
Money-wise.
speaking, that
Yeah.
money-wise, what you do is work 80 hours and get paid for 40.
There. Yeah. Hmm. I agree with you. Absolutely. So, yeah, I absolutely agree. And what's the solution for that?
Well, some schemes, like Oxinity does, apparently, provide some material. So you are encouraged to design your own materials, and you are encouraged the way our pockets understand, that is, our bank account understands. So, well, if you want to
Okay.
create, if you want to contribute, that's good, and we're going to sort of reward you for that. But in principle, you can teach with the materials that have been proofread have been tested, have been approved by a team. They have been collaboratively tested, that is. And that's a relief.
Okay, okay. So I can see who was speaking, sorry,
Thomas,
so far?
probably.
Thomas.
No, Thomas is here. I haven't spoken yet.
Yeah, I know because you've raised your hand, but I didn't get the name of the person who was speaking. Well, okay. So Thomas, you wanted to say something as well?
Well, yeah. I mean, the biggest pain for me is just getting enough students. I use agencies to provide students. I do a bit of advertising, but I can teach when, and I can hold on to students when I get them. It's just the big thing for me is it's again money. You don't get paid that much per hour, so you need a lot of students, and yeah, so I just don't get provided with enough students. Whatever I do.
Okay, okay. So yeah, I think that you summarized. Maybe there are some other opinions as well, but they will probably repeat one of the things that you guys mentioned, and I agree. I totally agree with you. So we believe that there is a solution, or at least there is a way to reaching a solution, and I will try to explain the different solutions that we can give to the problems that were exposed right now. But of course, there are many more that if we don't have them in this moment, we're going to have them in the future. I'm going to start with the last one first, with the money, because it turns out that people rarely discuss it openly. Yeah, it's one of the taboo things. Yeah, and it's the most important thing. Because here I think that this one and the frustration, back to Jose Manuel, I think that these are the main issues that we have to discuss. So what I mean is the following. One of the problems of the teachers alone, not the students of these teachers, but your problems is your rate per hour. Yeah. So you have to be paid what you think that you deserve. You have to. But the problem here is not that society is not, for instance, valuing as it should be. We all agree that teachers are super important and they have to be fairly paid. The problem, in our opinion, or the way we see it, is that your interest, which is an increased rate per hour, and the student need, which is the best teacher at the lowest price, rarely, these two interests rarely meet. So there must be a way, we believe, that you are fairly compensated for your work without that being something that a student, without it being an astronomical price for the student. Yeah. So in this regard, let me ask you, and we're going to discuss the rest of the issues as well, but let me ask you, how much do you think you deserve to be paid per hour? Not what you are paid, not what you commonly get, but how much you would like to be paid.
Okay. Radmila?
Yes.
Hello. Hello.
Sorry.
Fiona?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment. I find definitely one of my key frustrations is the low hourly rate that I'm paid. I typically work with a language school in France, and they offer a flat rate of pay for all the teachers, despite experience. There's no variation. There's no variation at all in pay. Even if you have a lot of experience, and even if consistently your students rate you as excellent, you don't get any reward for that. And so when I initially started as an English language teacher, I had somewhat naively assumed that I could set the rate. And the rate that I would have set was double what I actually am paid. But even double, I think, was being fairly, something reasonable to ask in the open market. I've previously worked in industry, so I know how much money I could be paid if I was working in industry. When you look at what teachers provide and the amount of hours that teachers have to put in, and the level of professionalism that teachers have to give the best experience for their students, then I think that teachers are definitely underpaid by at least 50%. It ought to be honest, at least double what my particular language school gives at an hourly rate. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Thank you. I agree with that, but I also understand why your school cannot pay more, and it's because of not only this school but the majority of the schools. Yeah, the reason is quite simple. Academies, language schools. That's why I started by saying we're not an academy. Yeah, so language schools, what we call here an academy in Spain, they have a certain model. Look, it works like that. I recruit the students. Yeah, I'm the language school. I recruit the students. I have to pay. I rent probably some premises. Yeah, the classrooms. I have to put all what's necessary there. So I have a series of costs. Yeah, I have overheads, and the teachers, my teachers, are my cost. Yeah, I have income, and everything else is cost. So my income minus my cost is my margin, and with my margin, I have to, cope and live and promote myself in order to get more students, etc., etc. So unfair as it might appear, there is no other way they can do that. If you adopt this business model, you have to continue with it. So it's not that you don't deserve the money, you do, because you do a fantastic job, but there are things that usually are so necessary in such a business model, and we don't usually think of them. For instance, no one thinks that the internet that I'm using, it has a cost. The computers that I'm using, it has a cost. The recruitment of the student has a very high cost, very high. Yeah. The rent has a cost. So yeah, we value our time as it should be, and we have to be able to increase our rate per hour as it should be, but it's impossible if someone else gets the margins. So one of the possibilities that you guys have here is exactly that. Instead of just getting the hours, you can get the business. This is our first offer to you. You can get the business. Getting the business means that you are no longer cost. You are the center of the business. So that changes it all. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, because as Thomas, I think, said, the most difficult thing is to get the students. And that is something that we have to acknowledge. People that can get the students, people that can get the clients, they deserve to get the margin. I know that, and I think it's fair. So if you are involved in this process, you have to get the margin. Yeah, so in Oxinity, we also will have two very different rates or very different options. Teaching someone else's students, which will probably, the rate for that, the so-called transfer rate, will be very similar to the one that you are paid as a teacher, and that's all. Yeah, it will be probably similar. But the difference here is that we're going to give you all the tools and all the know-how so that you can get the students and you can get the margin. That's it. Yeah. So here, every single one of you can become a franchise, can become that language school. And if you deliver fantastic lessons, then that is amazing. Why? Because then most of the time, people we get students by referrals. So if you deliver good classes, we're going to help you to get students. If you deliver good classes, they will multiply. There is a mechanism for that. So all in all, what you will be able to do is as owners of students, as owners of the business, yeah, you can use all the tools that Oxinity provides in the logistics, but the owner will always get the margin for ownership no matter what. Yeah, you can be the teacher as well, but at least the margin for ownership will be yours, because you have achieved that student recruits, that student registers, sorry, with us or with you. It will be your student. So that's the main difference. But the reason why I want you to reflect on how much is fair for a teacher to get paid, that's a crucial question, and you have to provide an answer for it, because answers can vary. I'm sure that if I ask you, some of you will tell me 15, some of you will tell me 20, some will tell me 25, some will tell me 30, and it will be fine. All of this will be fine, but it makes a huge difference. It's not the same to teach at 15 than to teach at 30. It's not the same. And it's not the same, but it's not the same to ask for someone, yeah, I deserve 30, therefore, you student, I want to charge you 30. Forget about it. It won't happen, because in a marketplace, yeah, option number 1, it's you, and you are great. Option number 2, any teacher in any marketplace. 12, 10, 15 maximum per hour. This is what you are competing with. And here, believe it or not, you cannot win that competition if you only base your argument, your uniqueness on, but I'm native, but I'm experienced, but I'm fantastic, no way. It's not that. There will be someone more native. It doesn't exist, but just, there will be someone more experienced, there will be someone more appealing, if you will, so there will be someone more. So that is something that you have to run away from it. It's not there. The answer is not there. The uniqueness, the answer is more, it has to do with the system. So it's not personal traits. If you go, there are two roads there to go, to choose to put your personal traits first, or to choose to put the different approach, the system, a different an alternative to the student's pain first. And I'm going to use what Jose Manuel, I believe, said, that people are frustrated. They have bad experience. They have had bad experiences. But again, the solution is not another teacher, because maybe it was never the teacher's fault in the first place. I don't think they are bad teachers. I don't think so. And I wouldn't be an educator if I thought that there are bad teachers. There are not. I think that there are people with not enough experience, maybe, or not enough, training, maybe. Everyone can be a good teacher. And I believe that everyone can learn English easily. Learning a language is easy, but of course, experiences matter. So if it wasn't, I don't think that if a student goes to an academy, the teacher there was bad. No, maybe that teacher had to deal with 12 students. Maybe there wasn't enough time. Maybe they didn't have good material, probably, or good aids. Maybe they did their best and that's it. But maybe the academy was the one deciding the methodology, so it's not necessarily the teacher's fault. It's never the teacher's fault. Therefore, if we change the teacher, how can that be the solution? There is more to it. There is something different to it, I believe. So what is that different? Teachers also need help, and teachers need tools. And it's not the same you, Fiona, with a textbook and nothing else, and you with different tools. You will be different. It's not the same if you teach a 1-hour class to one student only and 30 minutes with 3 people. It's not the same. The format will make the outcome to be different, even though you're the same teacher. So it turns out that if we change the conditions, we change the results. Yeah. So sometimes very small changes lead to big differences. And here the main thing that I would say that the biggest help that you guys have is technology. Technology will never substitute a person, but technology will remember everything that the person cannot remember. And someone mentioned paperwork and preparation, and it's much more to that. Yeah, it's much more to that. So no teacher, no matter how skillful, experienced, etc., can remember every single thing about their students. So what teachers do is, okay, as I don't remember what you know and what you don't know and what you have, what you knew but you have forgotten, then let's start with a recap. Okay, so every year we start with a recap, but the recap can be good for some people and not for others, because that recap may be something boring for half of the students. So what actually we have learned is that when we use technology, we can rely on it to remember the things that we don't, and we can rely on it to give us the things that we have to teach. Something as simple as that. You can't imagine how much time that saves teachers. You can't imagine how much writing it spares you. So you don't have to write down what they know, what they need, what you have to prepare. That is something that the system will tell you. And this indirectly or quite directly provokes acceleration in the student, because you don't have to start class 1 in September with the verb to be, which is in the textbook will tell you, teach this. Yeah, but my students know it, so why would I teach that? Okay, so I'm going to start with the present perfect continuous. Oh wow, but it's not in the on lesson 1. Don't do that. Here we say, all right, so while the students are interacting with our system in class and with a game that we have created, we get a lot of input. And this input translates in, we can identify what they already know, because if I several times ask you to fill a gap with a tense and you do it right, I know that you know it. But if you continuously fail, I know that you don't. So it's a very simple thing, but it requires a lot of resources, technological resources. But eventually I know what they know and what they don't. So the things that they don't know are what the teachers teach in class. So when you will see tomorrow with Coral, she will explain the system, and you will see there. Then in each class there are several activities, and why these activities and not other activities? Well, because these are the ones that the students need. So all in all, we can identify that, and the system lists the material for the teacher, so that the teacher doesn't have to remember, doesn't have to write, doesn't have to, rely on extra work, so that they deliver good classes. So this is one of the things that technology can do for us. And for the student, that means acceleration. So if you imagine that I'm a student and I want to choose a teacher, maybe I will ask you to convince me to take your classes, and you will start probably you would start putting your experience first in your profile, etc., etc. But this is great. But the problem with that is that very often we read the same fantastic intentions and descriptions of profiles, but there is one thing that is always omitted: the approach. Their teachers usually don't put the approach there. They don't. They put forward their experience. They rarely uh, make you visualize a class format. They don't tell you, this is how I'm going to do it. Well, if I'm wrong, you correct me if I'm wrong. If there is someone that is doing it differently, tell me. But usually, we explain what's the need and what's the pain and what we can offer to our students, but we don't usually explain how. What I say here is, let's try to put this approach in the first place. Let's see what happens. What will happen is that you're not going to get the question of, oh, how much? No, you're going to get, oh, but how do you do that? And when we have this question, it's much better than what's the price. Because, oh, but how can you accelerate my learning? Why do you say that? How can you do it? Yeah, I can do it because while we're interacting, the system measures all your interactions actually and tells me what gaps you have. Yeah, I can see that, but so can the system. Therefore, the more you interact with me and with the system, well, with the game, then the faster you will go. I can see, I know where you will have learned according to the pace that you have. I know when you will have learned the structures and the vocabulary necessary for you to be at, say, C1 level. I know that. You can tell them. And if they ask, how can you do that? So you can tell them, yeah, I know I am able to provide a specific strategy so that you reach your goals in the time that you need. You tell me the time and I'll tell you how. How long would you like to learn English? How long would you like to, how much time will you devote to it? And we'll calculate. It's simple calculation. It's very simple actually. Yeah. And you won't be lying because we're going to know their pace. Thomas, I believe, has raised his hand, or that was from before?
That was before, I think.
Okay, yeah. So all in all, what technology can do for us is it can save you time for preparation, for paperwork. It can help you identify the student's needs and provide the lessons to cover that needs. And of course, what Jose Manuel also said, provide that sense of achievement. Why that? Because after each class, students see how much they've progressed. Yeah, it's just a simple tick. After each activity, you put content acquired or not acquired yet. So after that, they can see it. That means that after each class, they're a little bit closer to their objective, to the final objective. So, and this is something that I believe that we can still improve and work on more. Yeah, so I absolutely agree that we have to make it even more evident for students. Okay, now back to pain number one for teachers, money. So I was saying that a way of reconciling or of making both interests meet, the teachers and the students, is, again, it's a very simple mechanism of grouping. So grouping is that mechanism that can actually increase your rate per hour. When we say grouping, don't imagine big groups. Yeah, imagine 3 students and 1 teacher. So for us, grouping is something that is absolutely, very well balanced. Teacher talking time and student talking time is very well balanced. So 3 people and 1 teacher is both fun and effective. We achieve both, yeah, because sometimes with one-to-one students, it can be a little bit boring, a little bit too repetitive, especially after, I don't know, we've been 3 months with that student, for instance. But when we group people in groups of 3, they actually, we achieve that the pace of the class increases just because there is less time for small talk. Yeah, and more time for what is essential. What is essential is what the students don't know. Now, one of the things that we have decided is, or one of the things that I would like you to reflect when teaching is, whatever I'm doing with that student, is it something that they can do on their own or not? Because if it's something that they can do on their own, don't do it. Yeah, that's for them to do it on their own. If there is something that they can only do with you, that's what you have to focus on. Yeah. So things that, for instance, that's why it has to do with small talk. Starting a class with creating the so-called rapport. Yeah, we create rapport, we break the ice, okay. So if a student is able to tell you what they did over the weekend, don't ask that. No, because they know it. Zero learning there. Start with something that will give them from the first minute some value. Yeah, we'll see what that is. There is something that we have a suggestion for these first minutes of the class. We have it, you'll see it. But anything that is, for instance, a gap fill activity. Any student is able to do a gap fill activity on their own. Don't do that in class. Do something that they cannot do on their own. Yeah, this is the principle. So if they're comfortable with whatever you are teaching, don't teach that. Change. It's not that they have to be uncomfortable, no, but they have to feel that they're using the time with you. You are the quality exposure. No one but you can help them do that. No one but you. Yeah, it's not in the Netflix series. It's not in songs. It's not there. So only the things that you can help them. These are the things that you have to choose to teach. I think that summarizes quite a lot what we do here, yeah, and the practices that we choose. Therefore, all the practices that have to do with listening. Just I'm playing and listening for that student. What for? They can do that after class with you. You make them practice. Gap fill outside the time with you. A gap fill is for the game. Yeah, they can do it on their own. Or what the question, what did you do over the weekend? What will you do? No. So in class, they practice or you make them practice what they don't know yet. So learning in class has to be, are you comfortable with this? We're not doing it. I'm going to find the next challenge for you. We're practicing that until you become confident. Once you're confident, I'm not going to ask you about it. I'm going to challenge you further, and so on. That acceleration, believe it or not, gets them closer and closer to the end date. And this is possible because we have grouped, because we use technology, and because eventually the 30 minutes with us is quality exposure. So you can argue, oh, but yeah, but learning is also about interaction and about rapport. Of course it is, but it can be also achieved without necessarily repeating. And students tend to always use the same structures and the same vocabulary. They rarely would use something new, something different, because they don't feel confident. So you can create rapport, you can be the best help, and they can love you because you challenge them as well. Yeah, we're going to see that again. Back to grouping. What grouping does for you is also increases your rate per hour. Now, how exactly we do that? So imagine that we have one student, and they tell us, oh, Andres is here with us. Hi, Andres. Andres he's a great teacher, and he's been teaching with us for a long time. Andres, I want you to be my teacher. And Andres would say, okay, fine. How much is your class? Well, Andres would say 25 euros. Oh, I cannot pay that. It's too expensive. So can you teach me for 15? And Andres can say either, well, I'm going to accept because otherwise the student will go with someone else. But in that case, I'm closing my rate per hour. I'm leaving it at 15, and there is no way I can increase that. Or Andres can say, okay, so if 15 is what you can pay, let's make it 14 per hour, but in a shared class. Why is that? Because in a shared class of 3, you will still be getting a lot of good guidance from me, but I have 2 more options. I have 2 more spaces. Yeah? So you will achieve to pay less, but I will achieve to get 2 more people. So these 2 more people, either it's very unlikely that imagine that my student Pepe, they want to take their class on Monday at 11, and Andres is free at that time. So Andres would say, okay, fine. But it's not so easy to find 2 more people to join that same class. If Andres works on his own, it will be difficult. Yeah, he knows that grouping will give him more rate will increase his rate per hour, but it's difficult for one person alone. And here is when we start thinking, yeah, but you're not alone. We have a community of teachers. And each one of these teachers wants to grow, and each one of them can get students. And every time this happens, and you have a place available in your class, that means that any of the students of any of the partners can go to your class. And when that happens, then Andres would be adding half of the rate. So if a student pays 14 euros per hour, Andres will get 7 euros for having accepted someone in his class. Yeah. So Andres has his student Pepe. Pepe pays 14 euros. It's not enough, but Andres has 2 more spaces. And every time another student joins his class, he adds 7 euros. So the original 14 euros in the so-called open web classes can actually become 28. And this is a mechanism that one teacher, along with providing individual solution, it's very difficult to reach. Yeah, it's not impossible. There are teachers that are growing, and happy coincidences happen. But it's much easier when we work together as franchises or partners that operate in with common interests. So we get a win-win, eventually a win-win solution. For the person that has sent their student to Andres's class, that is also beneficial. Why? Because they keep half of it, they keep 7 euros without teaching. So that also increases their rate per hour. Yeah, I'm not teaching you, I'm getting 7 euros. So to whatever my hours are, I'm increasing my rate. Yeah, so these are the mechanisms that actually can operate for you guys as well, so that you get what you deserve. And the first answer, or the first question that you have to ask yourself is, you have to be aware, I want to reach that rate. I want to reach that rate, not necessarily with one student. It's okay if I don't reach it with one student, but I want to reach that rate per hour. So I may not be able to do it with one individual, but when I start having students, that will happen. Yeah, we're going to see it more in depth on Thursday, but this is the mechanism that actually we have created for you to make benefit from your first student, whether or not you teach it. Gabriela, you had a question?
Hi, yeah, so I just wanted to clarify really quick. So there's kind of 3 main ways of increasing your hourly rate. Is the promoting, bringing people in yourself as your clients, I suppose that was called. Then also, if you can't teach them, giving it to someone else. Oh no, is that the main kind of gist of it, just to be sure?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're right.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
check.
Yes, you're right, because in that case, you're operating like a language school. A language school would pass these students to teachers, right? So
Yeah.
you do the same, and you keep the percentage for ownership, which is 40%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So
Thank
you can be, yeah. Mm-hmm. Fiona?
May I ask a question?
Yeah,
Thank
of course.
So you talked about the grouping classes and gave an example of, say, 3 students with 1 teacher. How do you actually achieve that, getting 3 students at the same time on the same day? As you said, for 1 teacher, it would be quite difficult to organize. Is that something that the structure of Oxinity actually organizes and provides to the teacher, or does the teacher have to somehow
No.
find students at the same time?
No, you guys just have to know that exists. And Oxinity has that option. It's called Open Web Classes. So this is how it operates. Open Web Classes, from the student's point of view, are a series of schedules that when they register, they have always at hand. So when in their platform, in the students' platform, they see all these options for classes that are available for them. So they book a class according to their availability and best convenience. They don't they don't have to coincide with the same group again and again. Yeah, I can choose Tuesday at 9 a.m. and Wednesday at 9 p.m. because that suits me. And if it doesn't, then I can cancel that registration and take another one. So all these possibilities they can choose until if there is an available place. So once the group is full, then that group isn't shown to the student. Yeah. So all we have to do is make sure that we offer the right number of groups so that there is enough offer, but we keep track. We monitor the groups, and if we see that there is necessity for more groups, then we open. If we see that we've opened too many, then we close some. Yeah. But all in all, for the student is they have the freedom to choose wherever they want. For you, it operates in the same way. You can you have one student, and imagine that they agree to these shared classes. So you leave the group, you create it, and you leave it open, and that group is immediately displayed in the roster. So next time another student or students want that class, then if in your class there is an available space, then they will join. And they can be any other teachers. Yeah, they can be, I don't know, Antonella student. Doesn't matter, actually. What you know is that you're teaching your client and +1 or +2. So for your client, you're getting 14 euros, for instance, minus 10%, which is the Oxinity fee. And from the other two, you're getting 7 euros. Yeah, 7 and 7 minus the 10%, which is the Oxinity fee. But you don't have to actually, the only decision that you have to make is whether or not you want this class to be open. Because if the student insists on it being just one-to-one, then you can say, hey guys, I'm teaching that student only. No matter how much or little they pay, I'm teaching them and that's it. You can decide that. Yeah, you can decide. You can decide your rate as well. So you can decide, even though we suggest certain rates, you can say, I'm not teaching at that rate. So my rate or my rate per hour is 30. And if Pepe is paying me 30, that's it. You can do that. So you can decide to open the class or to close it. That's up to you.
Okay, thank you for explaining that. I've got a better understanding of that now. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Agota?
Yes. So when it comes to teaching, I understand it's very important to teach at their level. It's basically custom made thanks to technology, right? So when people join your group, how can you make certain that they are at the same level? Because there's only one teacher, but 3 students, and they might be at different levels.
They might be, it's true. But in the first place, it's not so common because people in the first place they self-assess themselves and they're quite fair in their assessment. Of course, there are people that underestimate or overestimate their knowledge, but this is something that the teacher sees very quickly. So if they are a level up or a level down, then it's very easy to change that. Yeah, to you let us know, or you can even do it yourself. And then that student will, next time they access the system, they will be displayed a different timetable. Yeah,
okay,
to choose from. So it's quite easy. You guys can check that. You can have the learner's experience. I'll tell you tomorrow how to have the learner's experience. It's very good that you undergo the steps that they would.
Okay, thank you.
No problems. Any other questions before we go?
I have a question. In that case, when the student is, for example, under the level of the rest of the group, so you have to change the student to another group, and then you you have to split your payment, right? Like when you send your student to another teacher.
I didn't understand quite well. If the because I didn't hear the first part of the question. Can you repeat?
Yes. When there's a student who is under the level of the rest of the group or over the level, so you gotta change him to another group, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
the
you change.
payment will be split like when you send your student to another teacher, or
Um,
he's going to be your student.
whatever you decide.
Okay.
Actually, you can decide again here, because you can say, okay, yeah, my student is not A2, they're B1. Okay, so what do I do? Do I want to keep the group, the A2 group, and send my student to another group, or I want to change the group, keep my student, and then receive two more students, two more different students? Both are possible.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
it's okay. So all these decisions, you are not alone. You won't be alone in these decisions. When you have a problem, you let myself or my colleague Maria Garcia, you inform us about it, and we're going to suggest solutions for that. Yeah. So depending, it's we're going to be very well coordinated, because maybe. Maybe you have time limitations, or maybe there is another issue that we have to decide before that, but it will be always a decision made with you, with the partner.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes the sound is getting patchy, so maybe I missed the important part of what I'm about to ask. So please clarify. I
Yeah.
was wondering, so basically you said that should I be able, by agreeing with the students or the student, to agree on a different fee, on a higher fee, that's okay within the platform also. Is that
Yeah.
correct? Right.
It's correct, absolutely. You are the owner of that student. We're going to talk. We're going to tell you the prices that we use, the retail prices. But of course, you have the last word always. You can accept that, or you can do something different. Yes, the owner decides always.
That's
Yeah,
great.
the only rate that right now we have accepted all the partners here is the so-called transfer rate.
The
The
7
transfer
euros
rate,
for somebody else's student.
exactly.
That's
That's
great.
it. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I have one last question as well. It was
Go
just
for it.
regarding, let me just remember what I was going to say, about the students. So there's a certain amount of hours you're meant to do per day, like how that section of it, just because, for instance, in my case, from about 5 onwards, which I'd have to leave my house about 4, I have after school students. I'm doing private tutoring, for instance. So if I had to do a certain amount of hours, like, is there a specific amount of hours, is my question, that you're meant to complete per week,
No.
per month?
No, there isn't.
Okay.
No.
Perfect.
No. You can decide if you if if you are very good at recruiting students, which is the best, actually the best business is I get the student, but someone else teaches them.
Gotcha. Okay.
But of course, well, this is quite, I mean, this is an advanced stage. Actually, we have had the so-called commercial franchise. Two ladies, they don't want to teach at all. They're teachers, but that's not their forte. They want just to, they love the promotions, the sales part, they love that. They want to do that. Of course, I don't expect teachers to have the same preferences. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you say, yeah, but I want to, yeah, I can see that I have good traction. So people come my way, but I'm limited in time. Instead of saying no to them, you say yes, but with another partner. And then you have the margin for ownership.
Fantastic. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So my homework, just a minute, coming in a minute for you. Okay, so let me explain about the homework. So in order to get started, a very easy way of start promoting is, the first step is taking a look at your contacts, yeah, and segmenting your contacts. That's the first thing. All of us have much more than what we think. This is it. Even those who are not so social on social media, etc., etc., all of us have friends. And maybe they're not so good friends, but people that can help us reach other people. Therefore, task number 1 for you guys will be to segment your contacts in categories. So one category can be people, I don't know, if I'm a teacher, former students of mine, that can be my first column, or very close friends, to whom we're not going to sell anything, but maybe we can ask to share, yeah, or family, or people that I know more or less that work in companies that might need English. So segment your contacts in categories. If you don't have many contacts, then decide 2-3 target audiences. So for instance, kids or teenagers or professionals, whatever. Yeah. Then I'm going to, okay, so actually in the chat here, I'm going to send you these 5 points. And yeah, you can see in the chat the points. So number 2, decide what social media to use. Now, you don't have to be in all, don't worry. But if you are already using something, I don't know, Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, start with it. Yeah, it's more important to choose one social media and be consistent in it rather than be in all social media and do little. Once you choose your social media, find Oxinity, find myself. Radmila Gurkova is my name, because through me you can find other people, yeah, other partners, for instance. Through me, through me and through my colleagues, you can reach a lot of people at Oxinity. Of course, it's not compulsory. If you don't want to find me, don't. But it's going to be just more straightforward. And then, for those people who are you familiar with the platform I am Oxinity? im.oxinity.com. Yes. Yes.
No,
Great.
no.
Okay. So then I'm going to show you something very quickly. And if you have time, then you do that. Can you see my screen?
Not me, at least.
Yeah, I can.
Yes?
Yes.
Oh, now I can, yes.
Okay, great. So here you have that button, promo. Yeah, promo.
Yes.
If you are on im.oxinity.com, then you will have the same, and you have here a series of links, and these links have a number. So for instance, this one, yeah, this number is your personal number. This is mine here, but everyone has their personal number. We call it IDC, Internet Digital Code. So you guys can use one of these URLs. These are landing pages. So you take that link, you copy it, you open it preferably in an incognito window, because otherwise we don't want your session because we keep cookies. Yeah, so we want the computer to not to mess it with the cookies that we have created for you as a teacher, so to speak. So you paste it in a new tab as an incognito session, and this is one of the landing pages that your students will use. And then you guys can register as a student, but watch out, just provide a different email, not the one that you've used to register in Oxinity, another one. So if you have a Gmail and a Hotmail, then and you've used the Gmail to register in Oxinity, then the other one, for instance. If you do that, you can do it as a test and then actually put in the email, for instance, I can Radmila testing 1, 2, 3, 4, for instance. It's a fake mail, obviously, at test.com. No, hold on. You use no, you guys use an authentic email, a different one, an authentic one, but in the name put the word test, so that Maria, my colleague, knows that you're just testing. So if you do that, then you can have the student's experience. Yeah, you can click probar una clase and then just continue with the process, have the student experiences. That's what your student will see. So they have to choose a level here, yeah, for instance, this one. And once they choose a level, then what? Yeah, what happens? So they go to schedules, for instance. And then if you book a class, then it is for real. So please remember to cancel it. Yeah, if you're just testing. But what you can test is, for instance, here the game. Yeah, you can start. This is the register of their progress. Right now it's blank because it's brand new, well, new user. But here is where we say that I've said that I'm P2. P2 is like A2 level. So if I start learning English now, in 2 years, 4 months, and 2 days, I should finish my training. And this is a game here that they play. So I really think that you have to, well, test it a little bit so that you see how it goes. Easy. What is easy? Imagine that I say this is easy. No, it's something very simple. So the more I get it wrong, the more I learn, actually. Yeah. And so on. So you will have the student experience. All in all, again, let me recap a little bit. Have that experience and then segment your contacts. Decide what social media to use, and contact me there. This is it. And tomorrow we will see more issues, how you exactly get started, how to use all these resources that are in the promo button, and more. Okay.
Okay.
Any more questions? Thomas?
I may not be able to attend tomorrow. I have a dentist appointment, for one thing, and a lesson. So
okay.
I might miss a lot tomorrow. Is it going to be recorded?
We're going to record it, and I'm going to share it with you. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have
All right,
another
guys.
question.
Yeah, go for it.
At the beginning, how do you make sure that you're going to have like enough students? Or at the beginning, you give us like a certain number of students to start with?
We're going to give you students once you get started and once you have got your first results from promotions, which may not be necessarily students, but at least your first clicks, yeah, which as soon as you start, it's going to happen. So if we see that you're really genuinely interested and you're doing things, we're going to help you. Our commitment is that for any student that you get, we can give you a class to teach. So that way you can double whatever results you get.
Okay.
Of course you don't know, but it's a trial and error. And I have to tell you something. Only people that don't do anything don't get results. The rest do. The rest have. Yeah.
Okay, and that should happen at the first 3 months, right? The first 3 months we.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Even sooner. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm not saying that you will be, you won't have 20 students up front. No, but you will start having clicks, then leads. Then it's a mere statistics. We'll talk about the sales funnel tomorrow. You'll see how it goes. But for instance, tomorrow I'm going to tell you what you can do on WhatsApp. Once you have segmented your contacts, I am going to suggest something, and you will see that you will have reactions. So people will click.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm going to record the meeting tomorrow. For those who cannot attend, don't worry. And I'll see you at 12 tomorrow then.
Excellent.
And do your homework, guys.
Ciao. Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.